Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. My name's Penny, I live in Central Illinois, and I am a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. Thanks for coming and spending a little time with me. Grab a cuppa, and we're going to talk about some knitting. First of all, we're going to talk about Central Illinois weather. Today is Friday, May 12th, and it is rainy and 70 degrees, but spring finally here. So looking forward to having spring here. I'm not ready for air conditioning, and so my windows are open today, and I'm downstairs, so we may have some traffic noises, definitely some bird noises, and just I so enjoy seeing and spending time down here and looking outside. So when we can, I will. I also want to let you all know that my podcast is not edited in any way, so other than uploading it after I'm done, I record on my iPad and there it is. So it's not super professional, but I'm hoping that what you will do is grab a cuppa or iced tea or a beverage or a wine if you're at night, or a glass of water if that's what you need to do as well, and sit back and grab your knitting, of course, and let's talk about some knitting. So I always have notes, and today I'm going to kind of go off center of those notes, and hopefully when I'm done I will have everything on the floor and we'll have covered everything that I need to. So first up, I just want to share a couple of things. Finished objects. We're going to start with those, and what I am wearing today, which is the Summer Canoes. This is by Elizabeth Judith. I've talked about this in past podcasts that I wanted to knit it. And here is the pattern. And I do believe she has a new version out this year that is in a lightweight. Oops, is a lightweight. And we're going to go to my journal, my knitting journal, where I have some information to talk to you about. I knit mine out of PYS yarn, Cascade Yarns Ultra Pima in it's a teal color is what it is. It is color number 3735. And I have another sweater out of this that I knit a couple of years ago. I was into buying a lot of it, it seemed like at the time. And so I had plenty for this sweater with some left over, a skein and a half, I think, still left in my PYS, but I am donating that. And then besides the other sweater that I had, I also knit a hospice shawl several years ago with a black. So this particular yarn has had, for PJ Knits, a lot of knitting out of it. I used 3 skeins and 53 yards in mine. I actually, and it didn't take long. I started this April 21st and I finished it on the 9th. So it's a fairly quick knit. The thing I love about is the texture stitches, because it kind of gives you something to look forward to. It's not strictly all stockinette. You kick back and do a few rows of this textured stitch, and then you move on, and just really enjoy that so much. I made it, I did not, I picked up an extra 20 stitches underneath the arm. I was able to do that because, as you know, I like to have a full sleeve on my sweaters. I used a size, let's see, this particular, it calls for a sport weight yarn, and and Ultra Pima is pretty much a sport weight, DK weight, so easily enough. I probably should have went down a needle size on it a little bit, because it is quite loose, and I've had that issue with my other sweater as well, but I still like it because it's nice and roomy and comfortable, and I think it'll be great for when the hot weather really rolls in. Other than that, I did not make any modifications, and I used a size 8 needle on mine. What else do I want to tell you? I guess that's kind of it. That is Summer Canoes. I'm loving this particular pattern, and I want to just let you know. Oh, there was a modification that I did here. She has you do provisional cast on and then go back and pick these up and do the ribbing afterwards. And I just cast on straight away with a size 6 needle, and did the rib first because I knew that I wanted to pull it in, and the neck is larger than some, and it is on her pattern as well. But I pulled that in and did that right from the beginning because I'm not a fan of having to go back and pick up those stitches. So or even do the provisional cast on. I'm lazy. I want to get right into the knitting. So I started right from the get-go and did the ribbing and did not go back and do it. So I cast on for the size 42, and that's the size that I did. So again, fairly quick knit, a fun knit. And I think I'm going to get a lot of wear of it, like I said, come summer. And even right now, it's perfect for today as well. So that is Summer Canoes. Next up, and part of what I did want to make sure that I remind everybody here is that we are doing a small little knit along that will go through the end of July. And post your finished, please, post your finished summer sweaters in the Ravelry group. The Ravelry group is PJ Knits, and there's a thread, and we'll have a little drawing at the end of July for those who post their summer finished sweaters. And this can be one that is a whip and that you cast on at any point in time. We're fine with that. And if you would use the hashtag in Instagram, PJ Knits Summer, that would be super fantastic as well. So I hope you'll knit along with us, and as far as that goes. So we're going to talk about the other piece that I'm knitting, my next summer knit, and this is Salty Air Tea. This is by Samantha Gerlin, and this was big last year and continues to be just as big this year, I think. And I was on Ravelry, and I saw that there were some projects that people had done out of linen quill. And I have some linen quill here that my goal is this year is to use up my linen quill. And I've talked about this, but I'll just show it to you for fun. This is the cobalt blue that's going to be a transitional sweater later. I have a couple of options. The daily pullover was one, granito was one, and I just found a new kind of transitional sweater that I might want to try. I have 4 skeins of this, so I can definitely do this as a 3/4 or a long sleeve. So I have sufficient to that. That will be later. Stay tuned this summer on that. I had 2 others, and I only have 3 of each of these. They were slated to be half and half wraps, and I decided I wanted to do sweaters out of them. And so I have this one, which was originally going to be the Salty Air Tea, which is vintage Celadon. And these may still go into, when I get down to it, these may still make their way into a half and half for myself. Another one for winterish. This one is True Turquoise, and I have 3 of each of these, so they may go back to being a half and half for me, for somebody else, for a friend or family, or I may make some shirts out of them. So these are kind of on the radar of possibles for some sweaters to come. First, I'm going to do my Salty Air Tea, and on the advice of Saturday Night Zoomers, I am going with the rhubarb pink that was slated for a half and half that I think I'm going to put something else with now. That is to be determined down the road, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But here is this one. So this is going to be my Salty Air Tea. It's my next summer project. And I think that's going to be perfect. I'm going to love that. And it's a different color for me for summer, and kind of takes me away from the blues and the turquoise, but I'm not going totally. But I just wanted to share that with you. So that is kind of sort of what is up next as it comes to my summer projects and my summer sweater knitting projects. So wanted to share those with you. I also have a skein of black, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit. This particular one is called Kettle Black, And this one is already on the needles, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So I hope that you will join us in our summer sweater knit along. And there is a bundle on the PJ Knits Ravelry group that has some of my favorites in there, some of my possibilities. And so I hope you'll take a look at that, and you will join us in some summer sweater knitting. I love wearing my knits whenever possible. That's what I'm knitting for, because I want to show my craft, and I'm a knitter, right? So, finished object. I have two that I want to show you so I can put it into my rotation. I finished a washcloth. I'm loving these so much. So, finished a washcloth. And then I want to talk to you about my friend-to-friend shrug that I finished as well. There's a story behind this that I want to share with this. A couple of things. First off, this is friend-to-friend shrug. It's friend-to-friend on Ravelry by Leslie Friend, and she has a wonderful podcast, A Friend to Knit With. And what is so super, super cool about this is that when she designed this early on, a few weeks back, to viewers, she gifted it for free. It was free on Ravelry for a few days. So I think this was a wonderful start, a wonderful name, friend to friend. And because she gifted it, and just truly seems to be a sweet lady. And I posted my finished one on Instagram under PJ Knits, and I mentioned that this is really all about a friend. This is a gifted pattern from a friend that I don't know. I'm calling her a friend. We do not know each other. I only follow her on YouTube and on Instagram because I love the things that she's knitting, and I love watching her. She's inspirational to me in my knitting, and that's really what I'm so focused on when I'm watching a podcast. I want to be inspired, and I'm hoping that I inspire you as well. So that's kind of my purpose, and that's what I look for in a podcast. So anyway, she gifted this pattern to those who were watching her podcast earlier on, friend to friend to knit with. Now, what I want to tell you about is the yarn. I knit this. It was a quick knit. Let's put it that way. 6 days from start to finish. And I used yarn out of my PYS, but not really yarn that I bought. The yarn itself is a yarn that I received from my friend Annetta. She sent it to me over a year ago when we were having a really trying time here. And it is alpaca and my color, and she knew just what I needed. And I've tried a couple of times to knit something with it, but nothing was just quite right for it. And so I cast on a friend to friend, and it was perfect. I just love it. It is so soft. The yarn is a Loops Luxe Chunky. It's alpaca and silk. I used on mine, I started out with a size 11 and it was way too loose. Went down to a size 10 and I knit the size 3, which is a 50-inch finished. And I extended just about 4 rows between the last decrease. In hindsight now, I wish I would have extended that a little bit further, even further, because I'd like to have a little bit longer one. I still have a skein left, so I might go back this summer and rip that out and go back and make that a little bit longer, because I wouldn't mind having it. But it's a great shrug to throw on t-shirts and other things right now if you're heading out. So it's kind of a fun project to do, quick, like I said, quick project. And I'm going to maybe look up when we go shopping in Montreal for a little bit heavier yarn and not so much alpaca, because I would love to knit another one a little bit longer as well. But a great project, and and right now it's for sale out on Ravelry. I think it's like $4, and it's a super fun, quick project. I think you'll enjoy it. Chunky yarn, big needles, easy easy to do. And for me, it has great memories, both the yarn and a new friend that I've met through YouTube. So I wanted to share that particular finished project with you. I am totally loving it. So, alrighty. Next up, I want to tell you about Montreal, where Debbie and I are leaving next Tuesday. We are driving to Montreal. We will take a couple of days. We are doing knitting adventures, and you just never know where we'll stop along the way. We will get to Montreal on Wednesday night, and Thursday and most of Friday we'll do a little sightseeing. We are going to travel to those local yarn shops in Montreal. And then we will meet up with the other knitwits coming from Peoria, probably Thursday night, Friday morning. Friday we'll see them. And then the rest of the contingent, we will see them from the United States, from the group that we've met through Frivolous and Frugal and 3-Ply podcasts. We'll meet a whole bunch of those. There's like 20 of us from the United States, and have become knitting friends through YouTube, through podcasts, and through the mini meetups. So we're totally looking forward to that. We will head home on Sunday, stopping at another yarn shop on the way home, hopefully in Toronto, and then we should be home Monday night late. So we are going on a knitting adventure. I am so looking forward to it. And as all people who go off and do knitting adventures, right, you are planning your knitting and your sweaters. So I'm planning those, and I will start pulling those out later this weekend. But I've already started thinking about my knitting to take. Of course, that's what you do, right? First, the knitting. And because we are driving, the wonderful thing is you can take whatever you want to knit on, right? You can take as much as you want. There's only 2 of us in the car, and we can pack it. So we are doing that. And so just to get ready, I've got some things that I am taking with me. First up, I'm going to take this because I'm thinking that there will be times when I really just want something quick or toss in my tote bag if we're going out to eat, to have a little knitting. And I'm taking my Musselburgh hat along with me. And it's not got much work on it because I've been knitting on other things, but I'm going to take Musselburgh as kind of like others take sock knitting. This is going to be kind of my sock knitting. And I am also going to, hopefully I will have this done before I go, because I have a sweater I want to wear. I have one already knit, a sweater, but this is a Sophie scarf out of some Dream and Color Smooshy that I made a sweater out of, and I think it needs a Sophie scarf. So I'm hoping to have it done, but if not, it'll be a project that will go with me. So that's on my radar for my Montreal knitting. I don't know for certain that that my salty air will go, because I think I have plenty of projects to keep me in knits while I'm there. And I'm taking the Easy Peasy Poncho by Noro. This is the yarn that I'm knitting it out of, that I will cast on and start knitting it. And this is like, again, this is Easy Peasy Poncho, and that's why I don't think that I need to worry about getting salty air to the point of knitting on that, because I have plenty of projects. And then finally, the half and half, I have vacillated whether to pull this out, one of those fish or cut bait type things, and I've decided to fish on it with the Kettle Black. And I've done some mods on this to make larger stitches. And this one I think is going to be for me as well. It's going to be a big one, which is what I want, something big that doubles as a really nice big blanket and a really big shawl. So, and when I get done, I will decide what color will go on the other side. Originally it was the rhubarb pink, and now I have possibilities, or I can, do whatever I want. So this is going to go along as well. So as you can see, I have plenty of possibilities for taking for knitting. I have a new bag that Queen Sandy sent all of us that from our little group. It's not so little, 19, 20 people. All of us are getting a special bag to go to Montreal with to carry our purchases, and she knit one for people here, the Knitwits that she didn't even know. And so truly a gracious lady. Sandy does not, she does not do these bags and charge for them, and will not. She just does them for the fun of it. And she is such a gracious lady. She, as I've told you all before, she has made several of them for the PJ Knits podcast that we will be giving away a couple more this summer. And so I have a new bag. I'm not going to show you the bag because there may be some people from our group that haven't gotten theirs yet, and I don't want to spoil the surprise. So I will show that at another point in time. What I'm taking to wear is I'm taking a couple of my ground peppers, the first, because I have two, and they're long sleeves, but they're comfortable, and I think the weather's going to be in the 60s-ish, and those are perfect for me. So I'm going to take a couple of those with me, and I'm still deciding on some other knits to take. The fun thing is my friend Victoria, who's also going, she gave all of us from here in Central Illinois a book, a notebook. And you know how I love a journal, so I'm taking my journal with me. I've already got information in it, places to visit, and shops that I want to go to. I've started putting some things into that, some restaurants where they're at. Starbucks, of course, is heavily on the page, and just some other things about places to go and information that I need to know about insurance, about my health insurance and things like that, because just in case I need to know that information about, does my iPass work as we're going? I put that in there, and what states between here, and talked about the car rental and how much time it'll take us to get wherever we're going. And I'm putting some stickers in there, some washi tape. I've got some bonjour. I've got some of that. So I'm taking my handy dandy, lovely notebook journal that Victoria gifted us with, and I have the next pages started, ready to pack your bag to make a note of things that I want to make sure that I take with me. And then also what I am packing is, I love these pens. These are the friction clicker pens. I love them, by Pilot. And these are the erasable pens. And so I've been using them in my some of my knitting journal, but also I'm doing it in my Montreal journal. So if I make a mistake, they're easy to erase. That's what that top is. So I'm packing a couple of those, because you never know when you want to put something in there and you've got something wrong or whatever. So those are my, taking those along. I am so excited about that. I am super, super excited about Montreal trip and meeting people. And I don't know if there's any Canadians out there who watch us, but if there are, or if you're coming from the United States or wherever, and you are going to Montreal, Knit City, and you see us, please say hi and come up so we can get a pic together. I'd love to talk to you if you are going out that way. So hopefully Debbie and I will do a wrap up on maybe Saturday night from our room on Knit City on a podcast that I'll upload when I get back home. So that's the Montreal Sweater KAL update. I started doing 30 minutes a day, and then I got involved in some of the other knits, so I've kind of put it on hold. Once I get back from Montreal, it's full steam ahead on that 30 minutes a day on the Sweater KAL. The hashtag is hashtag PJ Knits Sweater KAL and hashtag Sweater KAL 2023. It is a multi-podcast shops participation. A lot of them are going to the end of the year, and if that's what we need to do, we will, here at PJ Knits, we'll do a halfway point at the end of July and award some prizes for those, for just in general, for those who have finished and for some that are in progress. The podcasters and shops that are participating. Frivolous and Frugal, 3-Ply Podcast, Dude Knits, Pandemic Knitter, Magpie's Cottage, Knits and Pieces, Got Whips, and Around the Table Yarns. And so dip, double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip in all of those. We hope that you will post your Sweater KALs and are knitting along with us. What is coming up here at PJ Knits? We are going to continue both the Sweater KAL and the Summer Tees Cowl, and we will do that until the July 30th for both of those. And then coming up in June, I'll talk about it later in future podcasts, but we will be doing, once again, we will be doing the Summer of Shawls starting on the first day of summer. And it will be Summer of Shawls 2023, where we're knitting shawls as well. So there's a lot of knitting opportunities. Starts on June 20th. We'll talk about it next time here on the podcast. So there's some things happening here. And so we are doing a lot of knitting here at PJ Knits. So I want to say once again, thank you so much to those who are part of our community, for those of you who come back each time to watch the podcast, for those who come to the Zoom and are following me on Instagram under PJ Knits. I have a blog also that we post on occasionally at www.pjknits.blogspot.com. I am Penny J on Ravelry, but our group is PJ Knits. So thank you so much. Welcome to new subscribers. And if you are not a subscriber, couple of things. I would love it if you would subscribe. I would love it if you like this video, if you found inspiration. And if there's some things that you want to talk about, make a comment below. In a few days, under the description box, there will be show notes for this podcast. And this is podcast 95. So until next time, I hope you're knitting something fun. And I want you to knit on with confidence and hope everywhere. See you later.